Hi Bjorn, this is Ching.
Yes, hello, hi. I was expecting your call.
Yes. Hi, Happy New Year.
Yes, absolutely. Happy New Year.
So, tell me a little bit about this new work you're thinking of putting together in terms of I don't know, style, length, and instrumentation, of course.
Aspect. Yeah, the instrumentation is the most unique aspect of the piece.
Yeah.
Because it's, they have voice, so you have to, find text.
Yeah.
That's a challenge in of itself.
Right.
Not only because of copyright issues,
Yeah.
but you need to find something that kind of speaks to you.
Right.
And it with copyright, you try and go as far back as you can, something that's in the common domain, and that makes it really challenging to find. Again, something that seems contemporary and speaks to you in terms of the text.
The instrumentation for this new work is fairly unique. I haven't had a chance to work with this kind of combination of instruments. But it's 5 different sounds.
What is that noise? That's her a little rubber ball. That's so cute. That's creepy. That's what he asked.
I thought it was a motorcycle going by.
That's what he asked for?
Yeah.
That's creepy. Can I see?
Aren't you jealous? You don't think
I know.
Did you ever hear that sound before? Wow. Did you make that?
We learned that in college once you get to
And
grad
now
school.
Everyone, this is
Hi, Bjorn.
Hi.
How are you?
Not too bad.
That's Andre.
Andrea.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Hi. Nice to meet you. Sally, the flutist.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
All right.
Oh, that was wait. I was counting. We were at 4.
Okay.
We were feeling
We'll catch that. Yeah, we'll catch that. I was actually, how do you feel about measure 77, taking that up the octave in the voice?
the all.
Oh, well, it comes out of nowhere, which is why I didn't do it, but.
I could try it. Yeah, why not?
See what happens, because that was the original intent, but then I was worried that it would just come out of nowhere. But you do that again.
Try that transition.
So what does it take to be a good composer?
So I think to be a good composer, I think you need 2 qualities. I think the first thing you need is that attitude that everything you're writing is good and needs to be written.
Too fast.
But you can't be delusional about it. So once you have that confidence, you then kind of have to develop this ability to be constantly critiquing yourself. So as soon as you're done with a piece, you look at it and say, well, what worked and what didn't? And then that you can be very, even more hollow and cold.
Like that.
Almost
Harry.
like a straight tone, yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
wrong pitch, but.
Yeah, and then you can add a little vibrato at the end as you do crescendo, but
Well, first thing I did to prepare for this piece is to get all the pitches really down really well, because this isn't a tonal piece, as we mentioned before, so I don't have a lot of support from the other instrumentation sometimes with my pitch, or my pitch doesn't fit into their chord really neatly. So I had to either find in the other parts where I could catch my pitch from, in the other, say in the violin or in the flute or the piano. And if there was no sense of any pitch near mine, I'd try to memorize it.
Hey, again. Here we go. 3, 4.
And then also I'd have to work on the rhythms, because the rhythms are quite intricate in this piece, and it's something I'm not necessarily used to doing since I don't do really modern music that often. So that's probably the biggest challenge at this point, is keeping the rhythms really precise.
One. So it is that kind of feeling to it. So here we go. A. And 1. Yeah, here we go. Everyone in on 1.
Yeah.
And, yes.
It's on 2? What do you mean?
It's on B2. You came in on 1.
Well, I find the piece is actually, I'm surprised how much I'm hearing everyone else and really acting like a real chamber musician. So it enables me to do that. I'm hearing everybody's parts. So what I find challenging is just what Bjorn said, when we're all playing, interpreting the rhythms at different rates, different durations, and then you don't know which to listen to.
Defiant.
Okay.
Do it!
Yeah, it's going well. I mean, every time you have 5 players, it's difficult because you're trying to get everyone to have the same conception of the piece. And it's a new piece, so no one really knows what conception that needs to be yet. So everyone has to work through their own independent lines and figure out how that's supposed to sound and how that's comfortable for them. And then they have to come into the group and figure out how those lines all interact with everyone else, and so that their individual idea of how the line goes also matches what the consensus is of the group and how other people feel their individual lines. And that's just it's a process.
We've worked really hard on the piece, haven't we?
Yes.
Yes, a Sunday morning we're here. It's hard, and everything always takes longer than you think it will.
Yeah,
Progress is slow.
I was thinking on the way over that I'm used to either having no rehearsal or maximum 3 rehearsals.
Right.
Try it again. 1, 2, 3. When that moment is, when it's foreshadowed and the reason why she's going to call the boatman is revealed, you get to finally join in that theme.
Oh.
So it's bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-bum. So that's the same theme, the ferryman theme. And of course she's saying, "I often swore my lips were sweet." So that's your chance to really play the same theme that everyone else has finally been playing, and that's the theme that calls the boatman. So at that moment, she's calling the boatman.
What made me really connect to this piece is when Bjorn was talking about his inspiration for the piece, of being a young Victorian girl who is very distraught and winds up, ending her life in a way, kind of made me feel more for the character and the emotion behind the piece, and that's something I love. So I think that's my real connection to this piece, is that there's this interesting character, and also something that I don't get to do all the time is kind of be creepy and crazy. So I like that.
That's what we want.
So are we running through?
We're running through.
Yeah, okay, great.
So the tempo might relax a bit. I'll do the best I can to keep it going. It kind of settles into something that it settles into wherever it settles into.
Yeah.
We're crawling till Anna's crawling to the shore.
Dying slowly.
Yeah. Like I said, some of it is just, that slower tempo you guys begin to click in, and some of it is that, I let you get away with the slower tempo because I myself then become comfortable with the slower.
I think deep down you want it slower.
It's inside you, Bjorn. You want
Okay. Yeah. The student is going to hear, to their ears, what they probably will hear as an exotic kind of harmony. So that, if you hear, that will create sounds that are familiar. But if you have a scale that works, it's a scale, but it works a little differently. And you get these kind of chords, that they'll still hear the concept that something is governing the notes. There seems to be a note that's more important, but the color sounds exotic to their ears.
Okay, so I'm just let it run. All right, so
Both movements.
This is our last rehearsal before the performance in 2 days. We'll see what happens.
what is the obstacle for you to learn this piece and to play this piece, or do you have any?
Oh, definitely. I do have some obstacles learning this piece, if that's what you're asking. I think, first of all, getting all the notes down and the rhythm is very specific. So you have to kind of work with metronome and just trying to figure out what is the closest rhythm that you imagine he's trying to tell you to perform. And also putting all the 5 people together, because it's nothing like a Mozart. You can imagine like 1 chord to 5 chord and all that. There's no logics to it. You just have to play along and trying to hear where everyone is, and figure out your place in between, amongst all the 5 different sounds.
So the first movement in particular has a very kind of exotic world, because it's setting the portrait of someone who is calling for this mysterious boatman of Greek mythology to come and take him across the river Styx. So it sounds like an ancient exotic mode that's being used, scale that's being used.
Our student reaction, I hope they'll like it. We work really hard for it. It's a new sound. As I tell my students all the time, be open-minded. Every composition has a message the composer is trying to pass. And as an audience, you have to grab it, trying to understand and trying to get into the story, like reading a book, get the essence and trying to get yourself infused and kind of melded in this kind of a pool of water we are trying to soak you with.
I've done it right. Hopefully the student will have a rewarding experience weaving their ears in and out of that world of dissonance, exoticism, and recognizable tonal moments.
Question, at Kate, was I late or was Sally early?
How long?
It's 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Late.
I was late.
1 minute 33 seconds.
15.
Because what I'm doing now is
I'm just
one before Ken giving Joanne her beat 4, which is your B flat.
Yeah.
So you'll hear that.
So altogether 5.
Hers is on the second B flat she does.
Yeah.
The extra B flat she's giving me is on 4 of the